Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Empath Sisters. I'm Bev.
I'm Shelly.
And last episode, we were chatting about soul contracts. So we were just kind of, just giving some more information about soul contracts. I know there was some comments that were coming back, some feedback as to, providing some clarity to a bunch of you. So that is awesome. So glad that we went with soul contracts last time just to kind of go over things like that. And I know that even for Shelly, she was able to, it's like you knew it, but not in that way. So it just kind of was like a couple aha things of like, oh, okay. So I don't know, as long as we can keep learning, it's a good thing.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because after we had that episode,
Yep.
I really started to have some more like, that makes sense. Or
We're like
so,
analyzing.
well, I couldn't help myself because there's just like so much stuff that we talked about,
Yeah.
even not really like so much stuff, but like it just helped me be a little bit more aware and
Yeah.
it was more clarification, right? So it was
Yeah.
like, wow, like, okay, this really did happen. And okay, that makes sense. And now I know why that made sense. Like, just things
Hmm.
started to actually kind of make sense. So it was actually, like you said, it was quite a good topic and a
Hmm.
and a learning a really good learning to me episode. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
so
enjoyed
fun.
it.
I
It
really
was.
enjoyed sharing about soul contracts. So
Mhm.
glad that we were able to do that. So hopefully, the rest of you also gained some clarity, learned something new, or maybe started processing some old stuff and was like, oh, and gained some clarity as to some of the contracts that you have maybe had in the past, or maybe having some realization that there are some contracts that you're still attached to, or, that sort of thing. So, kind of what are the lessons of this contract, even the ones that you're currently in? So, and just
Yeah.
maybe being more aware of the people that are in your circle as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome. I really enjoyed it. So,
Yeah. It
and
was
here we
good.
are today. We are recording our last episode for the 2021 year. I
Mhm.
know when I sent out my newsletter for December, I label it, October newsletter, whatever. And so this one, I just decided to go the final letter of 2021. And I had so many people going like, what? Thinking like I wasn't going to do work anymore. Like this was the final last letter that they would ever receive from me. And so I clarified that last week at Support Circle. And I just said, no, it was just like, I'm done with 2021. It's the final, the final month of the year, finally. So,
Yeah.
but not that this, journey of the Empath Sisters gives me that feeling. It's just the year. So, but this is unfortunately our last episode of this year of 2021. It's been such an awesome journey so far, and really looking forward to all the new things that are going to come in the new year. So, and Shelly and I are going to do a little bit of planning, and we hope you will all tune back in and join us for the new
Yes.
journey, part
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Part two. Yeah. Season two. I don't know, but yeah,
Season
like
two.
definitely. I agree. Well, in some ways, like this year for me, definitely was, and I know we've mentioned it in other episodes. It went
Mhm.
very, very fast. It literally was like snapping fingers, especially for me and my family. And
Mhm.
it just it was like blinking and
Yeah.
we're here in December. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. So yes, and I agree with Bev saying, what's to come in next year, and I'm excited. So it's going to be um, you're not going to get rid of us yet. So
Now we're just
um,
gonna keep talking.
yeah, yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy us talking. And
Yeah.
speaking of talking, today, again, like Bev said, this is our last episode of 2021. And we
Yeah.
thought, in honor of our last episode, and because of our dad, it is
Mhm.
his birthday, December
Yeah.
14th.
Yeah.
And for those that are watching, I'm wearing yellow just because it is his favorite color. I'm wearing it in honor of him today. And we thought we would just talk a little bit about him.
Yeah. Well, I was even, sorry, just thinking
Yeah,
yesterday how doing this episode for Dad, in honor of him, it was like, yeah, for me, it definitely is an honor because my journey literally like my journey's been my journey and I've been like this
right.
my whole life, but
Yeah.
everything that has led me up to the point, to the time that Dad had passed,
Mhm.
um, back in 2012 was when this part of my journey really, really just began. And I remember saying this years ago, unfortunately, it took my dad's passing to create and bring forth some of these things in my life. And um, at the time I thought, well, it's sad. And at this moment now is like, it's been a real beautiful, beautiful thing. So it's kind of just looking at it in a totally different way. And so I do want to honor him today and just, um, his passing has brought so much on my journey and my path and the experiences I've had and the learning and the growth and the healing,
Mm.
and the mending, and it's been a wild ride. I love it so much. And here we are,
Yeah.
going to talk about him. So,
Yeah.
and he's definitely, been around.
Yeah. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. And it's funny, even you saying that, like, same thing, I've been this way too. I wouldn't necessarily say for myself, like I know it has for you, this journey with Dad's passing. For me, it was more about when I had, my collapse, of course, but at the
Mhm.
same time, the mending and the healing, it's taken me a long time
Mm.
to accept everything
Yeah.
that we've been through, and uh just growing up, and not realizing why, because we always had questions why. And I think I'm myself, I can't speak for you, Bev, but for myself personally, has accepted finally, like, yes, that was our life and that's
Mhm.
how it was. But we all did the best we could and what we had and how everything, evolved, right? So I agree. And not everybody's perfect, right? Nobody is
Oh,
perfect.
no.
And some people might question, why would you do that, especially knowing what we did go through. And but you know what, he was our dad and we loved him. So
Mhm. Most definitely. Yeah, we
yeah.
definitely did. And, after Dad had passed, it was a lot of, I had a lot of anger for
Yeah.
sure, just
Me
because I
too.
didn't understand. For me, it was like I didn't understand our dad's addiction to alcohol. And it definitely has been a sore spot. And alcohol is a trigger for me, and just a lot of things. And so I don't know, I felt really ripped off, when Dad had passed. But, it's interesting that as I was growing up, it's my younger self already knew my older self. And it was like I already knew, like I was getting that information that I always knew Dad would not be around forever.
That's right.
And I knew
Me
that,
too.
but I didn't feel like he was going to live a long time.
Mhm.
I didn't feel like he was going to be that, 90
Yep.
year old grandpa type of thing
Mhm.
for our kids and stuff. And so I just have always tried to maintain that relationship and do what I can, as dysfunctional as it was. But
Right.
when our relationship had kind of severed, 2 years prior to Dad passing, it was really tough. So I felt like I had a lot of regret and a lot of what if
Guilt.
and all
Mhm.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just really hard. And I had never lost anybody,
Right.
close to me like that, especially a parent. So yeah, it was just the whole thing. And but it's it made me, through that journey of healing, instead of having that anger, it's almost like it just transmuted into compassion. And I started
Yeah.
learning so much about our dad and
Mhm.
his life. And I just started pulling myself out of my own shoes. And
Right.
I've been standing in my own shoes my whole life in regards to, my relationship with our father
Mhm.
and how it affected me, how it, what it was like. It was almost like I could only see it through my lens.
Yeah.
And just that, I think that young child of just like wishing it was different, wanting
Of
it to be
course.
different, all those
Mhm.
things. And so, after he had passed, um, I don't know, the perspective changed for me. And I was able to look at him and his life and go, wow. And it's almost like I had this like aerial view. It's like I just pulled myself out of my body almost and like looked at the whole picture of my dad's life.
Mhm.
And, just as a child and, the things he went through as a deaf child and,
Yeah.
going to the school for the deaf. And at that time, they had to stay there. They weren't allowed to go home during the week. And so when you're the only deaf child and you have other siblings that are hearing, and you didn't get to go home and you were young, I mean, you don't understand. And even as a deaf child, you don't understand. There's a lot of frustration because of the lack of
Yes.
communication.
Yeah.
So just all of the things, just looking
Yeah.
at everything. And I felt really sad for him and just like, well, it's really unfortunate that he didn't talk about his things, as we talked about in the previous episodes about
Yes.
self-care and how important it is to, even how talk therapy has helped so much.
Mhm.
It's just unfortunate that, the resources that we have, he didn't take or want or
Mhm.
look for or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. So it just helped me heal in a different way, just
Yeah.
looking at it with a different lens. So I don't know. Is that kind of how you felt too?
Yes, actually, mine was a little bit later than you because I remember exactly
Hmm.
how. Um, well, I do. I just remember you saying, Shelley, you have to read this book. And
Hmm.
it was that Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And in
Yeah.
that book, that changed my perspective totally, because she explains it in that book
Yeah.
about being in somebody else's shoes and different lens.
Hmm.
And I remember reading that book and I remember thinking, holy crap, like I didn't, because we didn't. We grew up
No.
like thinking, why can't you just stop? Why, like, not
Hmm.
realizing the effect that it had on
Hmm.
him.
Right.
And, yes, it affected us, yes, but on
Hmm.
him. And
Yeah.
so I remember when I finished reading that book, I thought, oh my God, it was almost like a light bulb,
Yeah.
that like, taha, like it was
Yeah.
just an amazing moment for me, because it was the same thing for you. I actually
Yeah.
did the same thing. I pictured how he was, what he was like, what he
Hmm.
maybe went through, growing up. And like you
Yeah.
mentioned, yes, how hard it would it be to know that you had to go to the school and stay there from Sunday to Friday and not be with
Hmm.
your family, and not being able to communicate well, right?
Yeah.
Like they were
Right.
told they weren't supposed to communicate with their hands, and so I could only imagine what it would have been like for him as a child. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, so yes, I agree with you for
Yeah.
sure. And that changed my perspective and it made me feel like, okay, I think I might understand now
Hmm.
why, he had no other coping skills
That's right.
to other than alcohol, right? And that's
Yeah.
what most people that have addictions, that's what happens. It's usually something to do with related trauma in their lives. And so, yeah, I was the same thing. And
Yeah.
so it changed my definitely perspective on him for sure. So, and I
Yeah.
think I agree with you. I've decided, like, not decided, but I just could feel the difference in me and giving him more compassion that way instead of being
Yeah.
more angry with him,
Yeah.
of being how our lives were with him,
For
so.
sure.
Mhm.
For sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't change anything that I've been through because it's made me who I am today. All the experiences that I've had
Yes.
and the perspective I had, and what I also learned in talk therapy is that, even when I look at myself being in that perspective with that lens
Mhm.
is survival. we're
Right.
in survival mode. And so I couldn't look at it through anybody else's lenses other than my own, because I needed to survive. And so it was just whatever I needed to do. And it was just like, why can't it be like this? Why is it like that? Okay, you're doing this. I can't be a part of that because it's affecting me this way. Or, it was just how to survive through the relationship is basically how I felt. And I feel like even though he was here and I had a relationship with him while he was here in the physical world, and I mean, I love all of that, but I also still just love the relationship that I have with him in spirit, and the things that he has done to show me his part of the healing. Because I know even when dad had passed at the very end, I got to be at the hospital the last, couple days that he was there prior to him passing. And I didn't get that whole, like, I'm so sorry,
Right.
that they show in the movies, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I really wanted that moment of
Yeah.
just, I longed to hear a sorry from him my whole
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
And,
I think we all did.
oh, for
We
sure.
all did.
Yeah. And it didn't happen because I
Right.
know you guys were on your way.
Yeah.
So I knew for you guys, you weren't going to get that. You
No.
didn't get that. And
No.
for me, I was just like waiting for it. Like, are you going to say it?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity here, but it didn't happen. And that's honestly, I think what triggered me to be so upset when he passed was just like, really, after all this time,
Yeah.
even at the very end, you will not say you're sorry. So yeah, so that whole healing journey until like 2 years later, until finally, I had a reading, but with a medium for the first time in my life, because
Right.
I'd never had any other reason really to see a medium. So, and when dad had come through, and I got my sorry, and I got so much more, that was literally the turning point for me. It just healed me in ways that I can't even describe to people. So it was, yeah, it was really, really nice. I was grateful for that, of
Yeah,
course.
for
So,
sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I would have to say the same thing. Yes. I wish we would have had a sorry, but
mhm,
knowing that we didn't get a sorry, I think and like what I said earlier is I just accepted it. And
yeah,
and even what you were saying, like about the our relationship with him in spirit now, it's
mhm,
not that it's almost like he's already showed us. I don't
mhm.
know about you, but for me, it's been like, yeah, I already know he's sorry. Do you know what I
Oh
mean? Like
yeah,
he's already showed us
yes,
like
oh
so
definitely.
much. So
Yes,
yeah, like I
he's
feel like I
definitely.
don't need it now. Do you know what I mean? Like I already know that how it's weird, I know, but like
Mhm,
when you have like so much signs and experiences with spirit, I feel like
mhm,
you already it's like communicating if they're in the physical. So to
yeah,
me, I already know he's sorry. I already
mhm,
know that he has regrets. We already know he's, trying his best to amend them, right?
yeah, yeah,
And that's what he does for us.
mhm.
And I'm okay with that. I accept
Well,
it.
that's been the healing part of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's kind of nice in that sense. So like I miss dad, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I don't miss the drunken phone calls. I don't miss,
Well,
there's a lot of the things in the physical that I
yeah,
don't miss, um, which is like a thing that is part of of the dysfunction, is that
yes.
we were so used to it, so we expected it. And I know even when dad passed, I would be like, I'd still be waiting for the phone
For
to
that
ring
phone
for him
call,
to
I
call me,
know.
and me going like, oh, dad's calling,
I
because
know.
I just know, because our dad is hard of hearing, it was just like you have to yell. And if
Yeah.
he's already intoxicated, it's very hard for him to understand. So it just makes the conversation so much harder to have.
Yes.
But I find now that dad's on the other side, and yes, he's given us so many signs and experiences. And I know he has healed things with me, that there was things that in my childhood that I have literally blocked out because of survival. And he showed them to me, and it was like a movie replayed. And I couldn't believe that he remembered that,
Yeah.
that he was shown like, look what you did. This was an effect that you had on your daughter at this time because of your actions. And I mean, that to me was so powerful.
Right.
And my relationship with dad now in spirit, it's like what I always longed for. It was dad
Yeah.
without the alcoholism. Because dad
Mhm.
was an awesome guy when he wasn't drinking. I
Yeah.
loved him when he wasn't drinking. Like
Yeah.
that's dad to me, you know? And so that's why I feel so good with my relationship with him in spirit, because it's just like I get my dad.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I just actually said that to Dwayne the other day, actually, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird that we're talking about this right now. It was like what I said exactly to him. I said,
Mm-hmm.
when he was, intoxicated, he was it was like a Jekyll and Hyde. You had no idea. And we were in
Mm-hmm.
survival mode. We didn't know what
Yeah.
type of mood he would be in. But when
No.
he wasn't, he was super funny. He was, a
Ah,
jokester, and like
yeah.
he just was. I don't even want to say it in like quotations or anything like that either. It's like he was normal, like he was this person that we knew. And he showed love, that kind of stuff. So it was definitely something that, you know, we never knew in the physical, but I agree with you, in the spiritual part, it's like him like that all the time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like there
exactly.
is no like tippy-toey, like, because there is no
No,
feeling of that. All you feel is love from him. And so,
totally. And the
yeah,
tiptoe thing is what we would call walking on eggshells,
that's right.
because that's what it was like for us. You know, you just
Yeah.
never knew. It was like
No,
you just were
legit.
checking the surroundings, right? Like putting the feelers out. And I also feel like that also contributes to how sensitive we are, is
Yes.
because it's almost like putting on those spidey senses all the time. They're on high alert of like, what's the situation?
Yeah.
Scan the room, scan his energy, and it'll give you a good indication as to what to expect.
Yes.
Yeah, dad was awesome. And I mean, the fact that we get to have this relationship with him now in spirit without alcoholism is really nice, because as you were saying, he's like this all the time.
Yes.
And we did have those glimpses as we were growing up too.
Yes.
And I know that those were the moments that always kept me going to try to have a relationship with dad,
Hmm.
because it was just like, I just know he's such a good person inside. I know the dad inside him.
Yes.
That's the person that I really wanted to connect with. And even as a child, I'm sure this is pretty normal. It's just like you're looking for that affection. You want that relationship, you're longing for that relationship. So you're constantly just waiting for it. It's like, oh, I got a glimpse, and then you stay in it. It's almost like
Yes.
being in a toxic relationship,
Yeah.
and you just stay in it even though it's not good for you. But there's
Mhm.
those pieces of like, even if they said, oh, I'll change, even though he didn't say that, but it was
No,
like you knew.
but you believed it,
Of course.
like,
And you want to believe
of
it. You
course.
want
Yeah.
to believe that you just
Hmm.
one day he could just stop or
He could.
make a change, and he could have,
Hmm.
so I just kept on waiting and waiting and waiting. And,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. And I know maybe that
Yeah.
sounds a little bit on the sadder, darker side of this episode, but it's part of our stories, and it's part of our experience, and our relationship with our fathers. So which is real. We're real people having real experiences, or had, and are still having experiences with our
Yeah.
father.
Yeah, we are. I will say, because we were just as siblings
Yes.
talking to each other, because we do talk to each other in a group, uh, text message group.
Yeah.
And, our brother, he messaged and said, he thinks there is a spirit around, which which is so funny to me. And I know it is funny to Bev too, because we already know
Yeah.
who it is. And
Yeah.
so, because I have had stuff happening in the house in the last week and a half. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about this earlier before we started to record. And I was telling Bev what was happening. And it usually happens more frequently when it
Yeah.
is, close to my dad, like our dad's birthday, or if there's something special,
Mhm.
or if it's our birthdays coming,
That's right.
or even when we get together. Like sometimes when Bev and
Uh-huh.
I get together.
Yes. Already. It's like he's just like, all right, we're hanging out. It's
Yeah.
like he's coming too. He's just
Yeah.
letting us know. Even when I go see Keith, it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Same
When I
thing.
come and spend time with you, even when we talk on the phone,
I know.
if I talk to you on the phone or if I'm talking to Keith on the phone, I'm sure it's the same when you talk to Keith. But yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be interruption or like weird sounds happening or just
Mhm.
like calls getting dropped or,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
just the
yeah.
activity has been so crazy in the last, I want to say, yeah, week and a half, 2 weeks for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's been amping up and I'm just,
Yeah.
even Isabel was like, okay, I seriously felt grandpa just sit on my bed last night. She's like, I was laying on my side, I had my knees bent, and I could literally feel somebody sit on the bed and it was warm. I could literally feel it was warm. And she was like, mm-mm, out, please. She's like, not right now.
Oh my
So,
God. I
and
know.
it's so interesting. Last Sunday,
Mhm.
our friends had come over and we went out to, we went and picked out a Christmas tree because we get a real tree.
Yeah.
And so when we got back, I invited them to stay for coffee. So we're just having a visit and the kids are getting the tree prepped and everything like that. And I don't honestly don't even know how it came up, but we just started talking about my childhood and just like she was just sharing some stories with them, like, how we didn't really have Christmas and we didn't have presents. We got presents from our grandma. We were
Yeah.
allowed one present.
One.
Our dad allowed us to have one present
Yes.
because
Yeah.
going back to we were Jehovah Witness growing up, so
Mhm.
there was none of that
No.
stuff. So, but my grandma fought tooth and nail, I would say, and
Yes.
he allowed one gift. So we would, going home in the car with our one present, like so
No.
excited.
Yeah, I remember. Oh
I
yes.
remember.
That was our highlight of Christmas Eve. And like our grandma
Yeah.
is born on Christmas Eve. So we
Yeah.
always used to either get together on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but most
Yeah.
of the time it was Christmas Eve. And so she would give us this one present. And yes,
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the car and we're holding our gifts.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, we can't wait till we get home so we can open these.
Mhm.
Because Dad would
Yeah.
not let us open them on Christmas
No.
Day.
No. And we weren't allowed to open them there either.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
know.
so weird,
It
but
was weird. Yes.
anyway, I remember the one gift that I got that was my favorite, and it was those fuzzy white polar bear type pajamas with the red stitching and the red collar. And oh my gosh, I'll never forget getting those pajamas that year. It was my favorite. So yeah, it was nice to have
Yeah.
that gift. But yes, he does come around during holidays and holiday seasons and that
Mhm.
sort of thing and makes his appearance. So
Well, and December is his month, like it's his birthday
yeah,
month, and like I said, it's on December 14th.
yeah,
And yeah, and like same thing, like it's some activity has been happening here in the last week. And I just said to Bev 2 days ago,
yeah,
I made some breakfast and I was walking down this like so we live in like in a bi-level. So I was up upstairs in the kitchen. So I was walking down to our like foyer, you would call it. And as soon as I turned to go down, excuse me, down the stairs, all of a sudden my lamp went on. And this is 9:30 in the morning. And my lamp is actually on like one of those smart plugs. So you have to ask Google to turn it on. Like you can't physically just turn it on. And it went on and I went, like at the perfect moment. And I said to my husband, I'm like, Dwayne, I'm like, the lamp just went on. And he's like, yeah, it happens. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I know it's just like a normal thing all the time. Like, oh, the light is flickering.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
big deal.
So, but there's other things that happen and he just he just loves and like he's a jokester. So that's why he did it, at 9:30 in the morning and not like to make it like, hello, I'm here kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So but he does take the time and lots of energy, I'm sure, to show us that he is here and that he is just saying hello. And
Well, seriously, I know one time Dad and I had met on the other side and we were having a conversation. He was telling me, like we speak telepathically on the other
yes,
side, but he'll still sign to me.
Yeah.
And so he was telling me like saving, for no
Mhm.
one that, for anyone that's listening on podcasting, you won't be able to see the hand gesture. But he basically was telling me he's got to save and bank his energy in order to come through or have a visit or that sort of thing. So I was thinking, because he hasn't really been around a lot or strongly, I would say, in quite a long time.
Yes,
And
I
so now
agree.
there's been so much activity everywhere that I'm just like, holy, he must have been seriously banking, banking energy to come and spend time with us this year. Which is awesome. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for that. And actually, we just, typical of us, squirreled off. I was going to say a story because there was a sign that he left on that Sunday when we got our Christmas
Oh,
tree.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just like, "Ah," and they're like, hello, come back.
Go back to the
Sorry. I was
story.
like, oh my gosh, sorry, squirreled, as what Shelly and I call it. We just
Yes.
squirreled off for a moment there. So
Yeah.
going back to Sunday, chatting with our friends and talking about our childhood and how we didn't have Christmas and we got our one present from our grandma and the things that we went through. And Isabel was sitting there going, yeah, it's really sad to listen to her childhood. I don't know how many more stories you want to hear about her childhood. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I was kind of just like, well, and I was just saying how, there was some things that I had brought up, about our brother and just kind of like how Keith's kind of, um, I want to say journey or perspective, maybe, how we all grew up in the same household, but how it was so different for all of us, our relationship with him. And so I had just briefly mentioned that. And then I was like, okay, we're just going to drop it and whatever. And so I get up off of the chair at the kitchen table and I had just turned to my right to walk towards the living room. And like, I don't know, a step and a half right in front of me was a dime on the kitchen floor. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, a dime. And our company is like, whoa, what's that mean? What's going on? And so I picked up the dime and I looked at it. And of course, as we've mentioned before, dates are so, so important. And the date was 1976.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. And so
Wow.
as I was just talking about my brother and,
Mhm.
what we had been through and stuff, but yeah, it was just like, boom, there was a
Just
dime. So
just for you that don't know, our brother is born in 1976. So
yes,
that's just so you know that that's what that means and why she
yeah,
said 1976. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah. And then
amazing.
now dad's been at Keith's house.
Yeah.
Probably like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah. It's your turn.
Yeah, I'm going to Keith's house now. Just so you know, I dropped you a dime to let you know I'm going to 1976's place, which is your brother's. So that's where
Yeah.
I'll be.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been yeah. And even last night I was listening to a meditation. I was on a class last night, and through the class, I was just kind of having some background music playing for myself and turned off after I was just kind of like tuning in and starting to do like a practice.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay. And then the second practice we did, same thing, it shut off again. I was like, seriously. And then me and my youngest son, we get together and we meditate, for about 10 minutes every night before he goes to bed. And so he came in after and I put it on for us and we're laying there and I don't know, probably a couple minutes in and he opens his eyes and he's like, why did it just stop? And I was like, I don't know. This is the third time tonight. So
I
just lots of
know.
activity from grandpa here. So it's just
Yeah.
affecting everything. So
Yeah.
this morning I was getting ready in the bathroom and the lights were all flickering. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, it's like going to give me a seizure, I swear, because it was just like a strobe light. I was like, stop.
Yeah, I know. And that's actually been what I was going to say. It's been happening in my bathroom is the lights are flickering like it is like a strobe light. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, like you're going to make me sick because I can get vertigo. So I'm like,
Yeah.
don't. I'm like, I don't want to have that. But the same thing, like the last few days, I've been FaceTiming our Dallas and Chrissy, our two daughters, and like especially Dallas, there was like a couple times where it wasn't even working. It was weird. And she was like, what's happening? She could hear us, but she couldn't see us. And I was like, I don't
Oh,
know. And so I had to shut it off, and then I had to call her back, and it was still not working. So then I
yeah,
was like, what the heck is the matter with this thing? Because it was my iPad.
of
And
course.
then I went to my phone, and of course it worked on my phone. And I was like, geez. And then I realized afterwards, it's like, okay, I'm like, you don't need to fiddle with my stuff.
Yeah, I get
Like,
it already.
yeah, like I know you're here, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, I don't know. I really just I agree with you. I feel like, yeah, the last it's been a while. I have
Mm,
not gotten anything from dad. And so
yeah.
all of a sudden right now it is very active, and I've had lots of things happen. Like I had mentioned
Mhm. Yeah.
before we even recorded, like, yeah, there was other things that happened. And it's just, it's nice knowing. I know some people get freaked out and all that kind of stuff, but for me it doesn't freak me out at all. It actually just warms my heart knowing
Mhm.
that he's around. So
Yeah.
it's nice. Yeah, I just, I don't know how to, I really don't know how to explain it to anyone other
No.
than if you just understand, like
Yeah.
that feeling. So
If
uh
you've had any of these experiences, like we
yeah.
have had, or have had a loved one pass, and you do get a sign, I'm sure you know
Mhm.
what that feels like.
Yeah,
It's comforting.
it
It's
is.
like a gift.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was even just thinking about some of the clients that have been coming in for readings lately, for mediumship. And I was just thinking, for some people, it's holidays are a hard time, as well. And I know I've been through those years of the holidays feeling really hard for me with dad
Yeah.
being gone.
Right.
And especially around his birthday or my birthday or Christmas and Easter, because those are the times that we, as family, we typically always got together.
Yeah.
And so those are the memories that I have
Mhm.
um, with our family, because we didn't do those things on our own
No.
within our
No.
family, like immediate. So yeah, so it's, so then I was just reflecting back as I was meeting with some of these clients in the last while. And, it's going to be really hard for a lot of my clients that have been coming forward lately because they've endured some recent losses. And, yeah, and it's just like, wow, I remember being there, and just that you're right. It isn't always such a joyous time approaching the holidays, and just not wanting to be happy because it's not a happy time anymore for them right now. And
Yeah.
so I just, want to just mention that if it is, if any of you are at that place,
Yeah.
that it is a hard time, my heart goes out to you. I'm sure, our hearts go out to
Yes.
you to, that sending you just some love and healing. And just if you can somehow, some way, just allow yourself to be open to a visit. They typically come around, and they are going to try to give you signs to give you comfort through the holiday season. So I would just love for you to maybe, because if we have a lot of focus and grief, sometimes it's really hard for them to come through. So if you can just, so I'm just throwing the tidbit out there of just trying to just go, I'm open to receiving signs. And if you are able just to let go a little bit of that energetic hold or want, they can come through, and just don't dismiss things that are happening around you. The odd things, right? The light
Yeah.
flicker, the light turning on,
Yeah.
ornaments moving on a Christmas tree. If you do have a Christmas tree set up this year, things like that, there'll be one that just moves and moves, or dances. And, so that is a thing too. And
Yeah.
dimes, feathers. I came to work the other day, and there was a feather laying literally right in front of my door. And I was just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say,
say that.
sorry, I was gonna say, because that's what it was like for me. After our dad passed, Bev would say, oh, I got to see dad, in my dream, or, like she would always say something. And I used to actually get very upset because I would be like, how come he's not coming to see me?
Yeah.
I literally was like, what the heck, right? Because
Yeah.
I was like super like wanting,
Come through.
yeah,
Yeah.
like for him to come through so much, and
Yeah.
it would get to the point where I would get upset about it, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize at the time, but
Mhm.
I do now, of course. But at
Yeah.
that time, I wanted it so badly and so much that I was actually
Yeah.
blocking it. I was not open
Yeah.
enough to receive. And even though he was, it's funny because like it literally came back to me as like a movie of all the stuff that he did that I
Mm.
dismissed,
Yeah.
and that I didn't
Like,
realize that he,
see, I
yeah.
was trying.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And I remember that. And so what Bev's trying to say is that I know it's hard because trust me,
Mhm.
I've been there. It was very difficult for me
Yeah.
and Bev,
That was the first 2 years, as I was talking about. That's the time that I
mine was 5.
wanted him to come through, because for me, it was, I missed dad immediately. I just
Yes.
wanted him back, and I just, okay, I know I can see spirit. I know I can communicate. Where the hell are
Right.
you? Why aren't we
Mhm.
talking? Where are you? Like, so I did that until the
Yeah.
medium came, and then it was like, oh.
Yes.
So then I just started getting all the signs, and
Yeah.
then it was like, it was your turn.
Yeah.
And then you went through that.
Yeah. And like Bev said, like for her it was 2 years. Well, for me it was 5. It was
Yeah.
5 years of that. And what actually showed, like when I finally got there and figured it out, it
Mhm.
was actually from this psychic fair thing we went to. And this lady, had this little thing about how much energy it takes, for someone to give you a sign, blah, blah, blah. So I was listening to this. And while I was listening, I was crying. I was bawling because right at that moment, that's when my dad showed me all of the stuff, like a movie, that I dismissed, of the stuff that he was trying to say, like, hello.
Yeah.
And after that, I never, never dismissed again. I would
Oh.
question, don't get me wrong, I still was questioning, but I
The
never
human
did.
side.
Yeah, the human
Yeah.
side of me, yeah, for sure. But I never took, like I have still to this day not taken any of that for granted, because I know how much energy it takes them. And like Bev said, like when he communicated to her saying like, I have to save my energy, or I'm banking,
Yeah.
that. And it's the truth. Like it
Yeah.
takes forever for them to build that momentum and the energy and everything to get that sign across. So,
Well, and the fact that he's been in all of our places, giving us so many signs, that's what I'm talking about. That's a lot of banked up energy to create all of these things to happen. It's
yes,
just unbelievable. So it is
it
such a Christmas gift for me.
Yeah.
That is like, and that's what I feel like, right? It's like we never had Christmas growing up, and he's just like, here's gifts, gifts, gifts of like, I'm here, I'm
Yes.
here, here you go, here's a sign, right? And
Mhm.
so that's just special. It's just, it's
Yep.
beautiful. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, me
And,
too.
and I just wanted to mention that part,
Yep.
in our episode, for anyone that it's not always a joyous time during the holidays. And I get that, everybody's like, happy holidays, have a wonderful Christmas. And sometimes it's not for some, and we understand. And so, we are thinking of you as well. And just wanted to give that advice that we've been there. And it took us a while for us to get signs too.
Yes.
It's easier said than done, trust me,
Mhm.
because emotions really come into play, and it is hard. So, but I hope that you'll be
And
able to see
also,
something.
yeah, and also I'd like to say too is that if you are having a hard time, remember that there are people out there that do love you and support you, and that to
Mhm.
reach out to them as well, like
For
because
sure.
they're going to be there to help you as well, and just help you go through, um, the hard times with you. And
Oh, for
yeah,
sure. And
yeah,
lean on your other family or friends, it
yeah.
is that time of getting together. And, if it's
Mhm.
affecting you, I'm sure it's affecting them in some way too. Grief affects everybody in different
Yes,
ways. And so
absolutely.
some are going to be stronger, and some are not going to be at the time. And so just lean on the ones that are a little bit stronger, that can be there for you to lean on. So,
Yeah,
and you'll get through it. You'll get through
yeah.
it. But I'm really hoping that some of you will get some signs this holiday season as well. So,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah, so hopefully what we shared today was something that will give you a little bit of um I don't even want to say, I don't even know what the word would be, but I just hope that this episode gave you some joy. And we are, so appreciative of you guys all listening to us. Like, I know we had posted the other day that we got like 750 downloads, which is like
Yeah,
amazing. And
it was so
so
awesome. Thank you,
thank you.
everybody.
Yes.
We're
Like,
so
thank you,
great. But
thank
we're
you,
like,
thank you.
what? We couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really did start this journey in hoping that would reach just like one person. And so that the fact that, it's reaching more and more people, which I honestly, from myself, I'm sure with Bev,
Absolutely.
from the bottom of our hearts, really, we do
We
thank you
do.
so
We
much.
thank you
And
so much.
yes, like, and
There's not enough words to describe
no, there
the
isn't.
feeling
So
or the gratitude that we have.
yes.
So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
So
It's such a gift.
it is. It
Yeah,
is
and an
truly.
honor. It's an honor
Yeah, that's what
to
I was going to say.
get to share.
Yeah, yeah, to share our, stories and things that we like, our knowledge on, and sometimes even learning
Of
from,
course.
everybody else and each other, and which is part of the reason why we decided to do this together. So
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
A million
So,
times. Thank you.
and on that note,
Mhm.
we are going to be taking a break,
Yes, we are.
and we are going to come back in January, and the next episode will be aired on January the 11th.
Correct.
And we're probably just going to check in and let you know what is to come in our next episodes. We're gonna, like I said, collaborate a little bit more, figure out what we're gonna do. But
we already
we're
have
very
some
excited.
ideas.
Yeah, we do.
And figuring
We
out
do.
is like there's some technical things we don't really
Yes.
know how to do. So those are the things that we're going to be figuring out, just so you all know.
Yeah, we want to do some new stuff. And so yeah, hopefully that will happen. If
Yes.
not, that's okay. I'm trying not to put so much pressure on it, but at the same time, yeah, we will be coming back on January 11th, and
That'd be awesome.
we are wishing you guys all the joy and happiness that will come to you for sure on, the holidays. And just to remember that even though if you're not in that place, that it's okay.
Yeah.
Give yourself that space. It's okay. And,
yeah, absolutely. And breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe through this entire rest of the month, you guys. It's going to be a heavy, dramatic, deep cleanse, heal before the new year. Trust me. So just breathe through it. There's a lot that's going on, and it's a high stress time as it is. And so, people are usually busy. Yeah. Who knows if there'll be, who knows what can happen, so just breathe through it all. Just pause, breathe, have some self-care, take some time for yourselves, even 5 minutes, just,
and also
see yourself through it.
Like I said, like what Bev said, breathe, but also be in the present moment. Just be in the moment. Enjoy every moment that you're having. And just, be mindful. Be mindful on yourself, and just be present, breathe, and lean on people, the people that you need. So, yeah.
Right.
So
and
we're
be kind to others.
Yes, that's
even though the tension can be high. Be kind to others.
Yes, be kind. Yes,
especially when if you're out shopping.
Thank God I am done.
Oh, I am not. So I'm just like, oh gosh.
Well, I shouldn't say I'm done. I have, like pick up a few little things, but I am like completely done everything else. But
that's awesome. Good for you. Right on. Jealous.
Yeah. So
right on.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Empath Sisters.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Love and light and gratitude wherever this may find you.
Yes, take care, everybody.
Take care.